Right. Right down. Well, good morning everyone. It's a bit of a cold and frosty morning this morning, but I'm in here, I'm working on this quarter berth area. I won't ask Kerry to turn around, but behind him's the lazarette. We got a coat of epoxy on that yesterday on the bare wood, and it was fairly chilly last night, so the epoxy is dried, but it's not, you can feel it's still a little tacky on the surface. It's not really quite dried off. Anyhow, I'm in here, I want to get this quarter berth in, so I've got these triangular pieces here that I'm cutting to fit against the hull side. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I've got to plane them up to fit the curve of the hull. But other than that, it's getting there, and we'll just epoxy that on the side there. Then there'll be a couple of struts coming across this way onto this piece that I've put there, and then a ply board that comes in for the quarter berth. So trying to get that in, and then I want to get that lazarette painted out with bilge paint this week, hopefully. And also, hopefully, the clamping ring for the engine is going to arrive, so I can start fitting the engine bed. So I'm hoping to get done this week, at least start on the engine bed, and then clearly after that it's the aft deck. So that's where we are, what we're working towards. The clamping ring has arrived. There it is, it's second hand, so got a couple of little rust spots, but nothing that can't be cleaned up and painted. Bottom is good, all clean, coated. So I want to get this fitted. This section here goes under this engine mount, so it's going to be interesting. So we need to take the sail drive off again and fit this in there, and then just have a look at how the engine sits on that engine bed. I also found, I'll go around this side, also found some dimensions online, so somewhere I've got a tape measure. Here it is. So I know that if you come up this way a bit, Karen, I know that from the centre of this bolt, you see that bolt, centre of that bolt down to the bed should be 201 millimetres, which is a bit of a wacky number, but and at the moment I see we're low. Even by eye, that's about 190 millimetres at the moment, so we're probably 10 mil low. Okay, that's interesting. But so I need to set the engine up so that height is right. I'm fairly sure, I'm confident of that. So we need to raise her up a little bit more. Might involve putting another plate under each of these engine mounts. The clamping ring itself has got a significant thickness, but it's certainly not 10 mil, it's 4 millimetres, 5 at the very most. It's a fairly inaccurate piece of measuring, 5 millimetres, we'll say. So she does need to come up a little bit still. That could probably be done with some shims under the mounts. But that's what we're going to do now. Just going to get that set up right. I'm going to get the clamping ring in there, make sure the engine height is right, and then we can take it off again and get the engine bed into the boat. But should get on with that. You bang on the bubble?
Yeah.
I need to measure that. Oh, look at that.
There.
Bang on the bubble, are you?
No.
Okay, well that's 207, which means that we are...
Can I let go?
Bang on the bubble. How much play have you got? If you went to the one extreme of the bubble, go to,
There.
yeah, and then go to the other extreme of the bubble. There. Good. So we're 5 mil high at the back. Okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus all them pieces of metal.
Why did they fall out like that? All good?
Has you got a bit of wood in it?
No, not yet. Alright.
Good. Now we're going to do the same thing with that spirit level. On the bubble?
Yeah.
Could drop down to the low, yeah. And the other extreme? No, the other extreme. That one there. Interesting. Okay, let's take that thin bit of wood out. Remember that there was bits of metal fall out. You ready?
Yeah.
Good. All right, let's try that. That's very good there. Smash on. Down, down, down. So when you're on the bubble,
Yeah.
is exactly right. That is exactly right. Exactly right. So we want to go up one, and on the bubble there as well.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. So we want to be 1 centimetre higher at the front, and that stays as it was. That's really good. Really good. Okay, so now we know. I don't know how this is going to go. I really have no idea how that will perform, but we will find out, won't we?
Is the rope strong enough?
Should be. Get the table in close. Shall we?
Yeah, right, that one's... No, a bit more, a bit more.
Right. A bit more.
It's scraping out.
Good so far. Yeah. Let's follow this. So, what we're going to do now is wriggle this engine over to my side here. Okay? Stop there. I want to hold that one there. Can we slide this entire board, Kerry? If you get off the board. Wait. You ready? go that. The weight on that.
It's kind of off.
It's kind of up. Can you kind of pull that board out?
No, not yet. So.
Just if we get up, it's up, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's now get down in there, quickly. Right down. Right there. That's a high five, right? That's a high five. Stressful, right? I really didn't know if that shed would be up to all.
Yeah. That's everyone else as well.
It's in! Well, I guess that's getting towards it for this week. A few things I wanted to mention based on people's comments from over the last couple of weeks. Get some really good comments and questions from people who clearly know what they're talking about and have an interest, which is very nice. So please feel free to comment. Somebody asked me about the screws I was using last week. I've mentioned the screws before. I brought a box up here. These are German-made Spax screws. They're 2A stainless, which is the same as 304 stainless, and anywhere away from or significantly above the waterline, I'm happy to use them. There are two grades of stainless that's okay for marine use: 304 and 316. 316 is the better of the two. That's also known as 4A. So if you've got any concerns, the 316 or 4A stainless is the better. But I think myself, as long as it's well above the waterline and not too exposed, 2A or 304 will probably outlast the boat, to be honest with you. Under the waterline, I've used entirely bronze screws though, silicon bronze. So the ring nails that nail the plywood together are silicon bronze. Any screws I've used are silicon bronze. The bolts through the knee is the stern post and stem knee are silicon bronze. So under the waterline, we're all bronze. Good, that was that. Somebody asked me about the cockpit, and that was a very good one. For a while, I was thinking of having no cockpit at all, just a flat aft deck. That has the advantage that you don't need any drain. A cockpit, if you get a breaking wave over the back, for example, the cockpit can fill up with water. The bigger the cockpit, the more water it could fill with, the heavier it is, obviously. And you need to drain that water out, so you need some kind of cockpit drain. So if you haven't got a cockpit, it can't fill up with water, and you don't need a drain. It's simple. But a lot of thought went on, and Karen and I were in here looking at the heads, the bathroom area, because we need a shower of some sort in there. And when we were thinking about the way the bathroom and the heads would work, it became clear that it would be quite difficult to get a drain in for the shower. Firstly, the bathroom is quite small, so a shower would be tight, not impossible, most certainly. But getting some kind of tub underneath it for the shower water to drain into is also quite tricky. These boats don't have much bilge, so then I thought, well, the answer is not to put the shower in the bathroom, in the heads, but to have an outdoor shower in the cockpit area, which is clearly enclosed in some manner, but you could use the cockpit as a shower area. So that then made it clear that there would be a cockpit. And what I've gone for is a very small cockpit. As you might have seen, it's a little over 60 by 60, so it's quite a small cockpit. One more thing, I've recently purchased this 3M mask, and the reason is, you may have noticed over the series of these videos, I started off, when I was doing epoxy work, I started off wearing a respirator all the time, a mask. Then I progressed to not wearing one at all. And now I'm sort of going back to thinking it's probably a good idea. The epoxy I use doesn't have any nasty smell, but that of course doesn't mean there aren't any noxious gases being given off. So anyway, I bought this 3M mask. It's the 6000 series mask, and the filter canisters are for organic compounds. And I have to say, I've used it once now when I was glassing the first of the aft deck boards, and when you're wearing it, you notice nothing, no smell at all. It feels like you're breathing really fresh, clean air. And I shall be very interested to wear this when I'm doing the bilge paint next, when we didn't get as far as the lazarette bilge paint this week. So when I do that, I'm going to wear this and I shall report on how well it works filtering that. One last thing perhaps, or getting towards the last thing, and it's time to introduce Kerry. You've seen him helping this week. He's very often behind the camera, certainly in recent times when the girls have gone off abroad. They're not about at the moment, so Kerry's been stepping in, been doing a lot of the camera work, and this week you've seen him helping out quite a bit, so here he is. The very last thing, of course, is that we got a few SV Tapatya challenge coins come through from Doug and Betsy at SV Seeker. I put mine in this keyring holder that you can get from the SV Seeker junk shop. Very nice. The coin itself I think looks great. It's an old bronze finish. Mexican style sun on the back with SV Tapatya, and the front side is a design that Elizabeth put together. It's a sort of nicely innocent image of Tapatya at sea with the sun rising behind her. Kerry's got one in the, as it comes in the packing.
What's that?
That's what they look like. Now there are 12 different ones of these. 12 different boat builders have issued challenge coins, and collect them all. $15 for each coin goes to the boat builder themselves if you buy them individually. I think 12 if you buy the collection. So nice way of helping these boat builders out. They're available from the SV Seeker junk store. Very nice. Link. And I'll put a link in the video description as well. That's it for now. See you next week.
Riches in the sunset, stand out to sea. Tell me where you're going so decisively. What's your destination? Tell me where you're bound. We can move together where adventures abound. Running free before the breeze. Are there many days such as these?